Right, the game's just finished. Chelsea 1, Fulham 0. It's a win that we very, very much needed. It's a win that moves us above Man United in the league. Is that the headline? Is that relevant? Don't care. I've gone with it now. It is good to see Chelsea get back to winning ways. Let's speak a little bit about the match, where it went right, where it went wrong. Were we lucky to not have a sending off? Let's speak a bit about the individual performances and let's have a little look at where we go from here. But before we start breaking down the match, people, if you are new around here, welcome to the Joey Knight podcast. If you like the content and you want to see more from myself, please at the end of the video smash that subscribe button, or do it now. Click the bell so that you get a notification every time one of my videos goes live. And right now, before we have a look at the team sheet that started, smash the like button. But before we get into all that, I want to give a huge shout out to today's video sponsors and partners of the channel, StakeMate. StakeMate is a football app that makes football betting simple. They offer accumulators, bet builders, and plenty more features that will be coming over the next few weeks. No banners, no annoying pop-ups, straight to the point, just how we like it. So I am going to use StakeMate to put on my fourfold accumulator for this weekend's football. Starting off, I'm backing Aston Villa to get a win on the road against Everton. Man United against Spurs at Old Trafford. Don't think Man United have got enough to get the job done there. I'm going to back a draw in that one. I'm going to stick another draw in there to up the odds a little bit, this time in the championship game between QPR and Watford. And I am going to go with Europe's surprise package this season, Girona to win away at Almira. I'm going to stick a fiver on that, and at the time of recording, I stand to win just under 250 quid. So I am now asking you guys to support me by supporting the guys who support this channel, and that is StakeMate. You can download their app from the App Store, and they're also linked in the description to this video. Please remember that StakeMate is a betting app, which means you do need to be 18 or over to use it, and most importantly, please gamble responsibly. So here's the team that started the game, and pretty strong with the back line as much as we could have gone. Gusto at right back, playing well there. Disasi, he started off next to Thiago Silva, and obviously Levi Colwell in the left back slot, where we've seen him time in, time out this season. A lot of us, including myself, saying maybe he shouldn't be played there. Actually, he probably fared all right today, but is that more to do with the pace or lack thereof pace of Fulham's wingers over on that side? Not too sure. Enzo, Caicedo, and Gallagher with Cole Palmer, I should say, coming back out to the right wing this time. Sterling over on the other side, and Amanda Broha, a man who I believe that maybe when you look at the physicality of Middlesbrough and championship teams in general, maybe Amanda Broha was unlucky not to get a start against Middlesbrough in the week, but that's neither here nor there. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, and we're on to another match. Now, before the match, I actually went up to Stamford Bridge and had a quick little chat with Joe Cole. You may have heard of him, mate of mine, Joe Cole. Good friend, yeah. Had a quick little chat with him on TNT, and he told me that he's been up the training ground this week, and he said to me that in and around training, like, there's a really good atmosphere in the ground. The boys are very much on board with Pochettino. And this was an off-camera conversation. This wasn't him saying it, for Chelsea's sake. Like, he said that, the boys are really buying into Pochettino's ideas, gets on very well with them, very good vibe around the training ground. And that filled me with a lot of optimism for today, because I thought, okay, right, maybe tactically there's things that need to go our way and need to be improved. Maybe Pochettino needs to bring one or two more in. People might sneer at that, but it is the truth. But just in terms of the boys backing and having faith in the manager, Joe Cole confirmed to me today that he definitely does have the backing of the boys, definitely does have the faith, so it's good to see. But let's have a little chat about the run of play and how the game went from my perspective. Right, so first 10 minutes or so, Chelsea start off quite well, pretty dominant in possession. I'd say more or less most, if not all of the play is in Fulham's half, but that's not really anything new to us, is it? Like, we've seen so many matches where the run of play is like that early on. I mean, you've only got to look back to the Wolves game. The run of play was very much like that early on, and we all know what happened there. So it didn't massively fill me with optimism. And then after that, the game did start to level out a little bit. 20 minutes or so into the game, Fulham have their best chance. The ball is fizzed across the box, right? And I don't know who even took the shot for Fulham, but anyway, Petrovic, in my opinion, made a worldie save. He got across the face of goal really, really quickly to get down to the shot. It was on target. 9 out of 10 times, I reckon that's going in. So straight away there, Petrovic really, really proving his worth and keeping us in the game. Anyway, for me, pretty underwhelming first half. And I'm right about to crack on with a little bit of work on the laptop for the 15 minutes or so in half time when Raheem Sterling picks up the ball just inside the box. I think it was Cole Palmer that threaded it through to him, but you might be able to tell me if I'm wrong. I think it was. anyway, Raheem Sterling cuts it back, as he had done a couple of times in that half, wins the penalty. Now, a couple of people were saying online that, Sterling dived and didn't deserve to be a penalty. I would stand somewhere in the middle of it. Was it a penalty? Yes. Did Raheem Sterling very much win the penalty? Yes. Do I care? No. Couldn't care less, because that man again, Cole Palmer, steps up and converts the penalty. And there was a stat that popped up on the screen. I should have made a note of it, but it was talking about young players across Europe's top 5 leagues at the moment. And it's only Jude Bellingham able to outperform Cole Palmer at the minute. Like, it's so vital for England, in my opinion, that Cole Palmer is on that plane to Germany in the summer, because we could really do with someone like him. When we know that a lot of these matches end up going to penalties, there's no one better from a dead ball, unless you're maybe talking about Ivan Toney. But yeah, Cole Palmer's the man. Did we deserve to go in at half-time leading? Possibly not, on the run of play, maybe not. Fulham probably had the better chance, barring the penalty. I say on the run of play, actually, on the run of play, we were probably the better team, but Fulham probably had the best chance. But one thing we do have in this team now, me and Brian, the true Geordie, have discussed this time in, time out on the kickoff, which we are live for tomorrow, by the way, the Kickoff YouTube channel. Make sure you're there. We're watching a match tomorrow. We had discussed this about Chelsea not having match winners. And earlier in the season, it didn't really seem like Chelsea did have match winners. And at the moment, I don't know if we win enough matches for me to call them match winners, but we definitely do have game changers. And on his day, Raheem Sterling's one. And on any day, Cole Palmer's one. He is a game changer. He was for us in this match. Cole Palmer, so impressed by him. Can't sing his praises enough. But there was one elephant in the room, big question at halftime. And that was, did Malo Gusto deserve a red card? He put a challenge in. The studs were up, but the boot wasn't that high off the ground. Before VAR, no, it's not a red card at all. Post VAR, I'm going to upset a few here. Yeah, maybe it was a red card post VAR. Does that mean that I believe it was a red card? No, I actually don't believe it was a red card, because that's just my expectations and how I see things. But if you're going on consistency, if the Curtis Jones one we saw in the Liverpool against Spurs match earlier in the season was a red card, maybe the Malo Gusto one today was a red card. If the Malo Gusto one against Aston Villa at Stamford Bridge when we lost was a red card, maybe the Malo Gusto one today was a red card. But I don't believe any of them are red cards. If a Chelsea player makes a challenge, I don't believe it's a red card. I think we should be able to do whatever we want and get away with it. But yeah. That was that. Half-time, was I optimistic? Yeah, I suppose we were 1-0 up. But, I know how Chelsea have somewhat crumbled against Luton when we were, 3 goals up. So when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, okay, maybe Fulham will have a fight back. And they did have a fight back in the second half. They were semi-decent, Fulham. 52 minutes in, we break on Fulham. A well-led break by Raheem Sterling. Sterling gets the ball over to Brower, and we'll touch on Brower because he started in the number 9 spot. Wasn't impressed by him today, really. Haven't been impressed too much recently, but I really want it to come good for Brower, because I think that injury has hampered him so much further than the Chelsea fans, or some of the Chelsea fans, realise. It's ridiculous. And before that injury, I get pelters for saying this, but there were times when he was giving me a Haaland vibe. Now he's giving me more of a Højlund vibe. But no, listen. Brower doesn't really do anything with it. He manages to get the ball out of his feet where it had been tangled up a few times in the match. And then he puts it out and the ball's whipped into the box. I don't know who whipped it in again. Should know this. But anyway, who's on the end of it? Ironically, the smallest man on the pitch who's probably never scored a header in his life. I think he has scored one. Raheem Sterling. He heads it against the post. I'm pretty sure that Leno would have had it covered anyway. But it was good because obviously we were threatening still. But this move really shocked Fulham into life. And they did start threatening themselves a lot more after this. Now, around the 65th minute mark, that man-to-man Broha comes off. Noddy Madueke comes on, which means we convert back to the system that we saw against Middlesbrough, which is obviously Madueke on one wing, Sterling on the other, and Cole Palmer in the false 9 position. But the pressure was off Cole Palmer. He had already got his goal. And it actually looked all right, but we weren't that threatening from that point onwards. 72nd minute, Petrovic proves his... Sorry, I get told off for burping in my videos all the time. Petrovic proves his worth once again. when the ball fizzes across the box. Raul Jimenez, I think it was a left-footed, like, spinning sideward shot, little FIFA placement shot in there. Petrovic gets down to it really, really well. It wasn't the paciest shot in the world, but an awkward one nevertheless, and I've seen Sanchez let them in. I tell you what, if Raul Jimenez takes that exact same shot 100 times against Onana somehow manages to concede it 105 times. That's saying something about the level of Onana, who obviously plays for Man United, who obviously, ironically, we are above in the league at the minute. So, yeah, Anyway, Jimenez had another chance not long after that. Petrovic saves it again. Petrovic, really good performance today. Really, really happy with him. At this point, Fulham are really starting to pile on the pressure. Chelsea are having our moments, sort of, I don't want to say on the break, but sporadically. 82nd minute, right? I've spoke about Conor Gallagher being unlucky to not get on the score sheet so far this season for Chelsea. Oh, he wouldn't have minded if he had scored this one because it was a beauty, right? The ball drops on the edge of the box. Conor Gallagher, bang, outside of the foot, spins it round two players, hits the post. Desperately unlucky. And when you think about the fact that Sterling hit the post today, Gallagher hit the post today, on another day, we could have won this game by a couple of goals. So I'm not massively disappointed. And if you look at my prediction before the match, I said 1-1 draw. I always thought that it was going to be a difficult match for us today. Let's speak about, obviously, before we speak about anything, that was how the game ended. Ended 1-0 Chelsea. Very, very happy to get the points. For the time being, obviously games are played today, games are played tomorrow, but for the time being, Chelsea go up to 8th. We go above Man United, above Newcastle. Obviously, we're now above Wolves. Those guys have all got a game in hand on us. But also, everyone's got a game in hand. Man City have got 2 games in hand. But if you look at the table right now, yeah, Brighton and West Ham, who are above us, right? Brighton are level on points of us, better goal difference. And West Ham are 3 points ahead of us. Now, in this position we're in right now, bearing in mind we've got some hard games in the league coming up, man. We've got Liverpool next. That's going to be a hard one. We've got Wolves after that. Palace, City, Tottenham, Brentford. Some winnable games, some not so winnable games. If Chelsea's recent record this season is anything to go by, you would imagine that the ones are more winnable, we probably don't pick up points in. The ones that are less winnable, we probably do pick up points in. But either way, what I'm saying is, if a few results go our way, we're really not that far off of pushing for Europa League football again now. And I've said, anyone that watches the channel will know I'll be very happy with Europa League football, because I do think it's a squad in transition, it's a building process, and we need to get behind the boys. And if we could get Europa League football and get to the final of the Carling Cup, League Cup, whatever you want to call it, that would be, I would say, a successful season. Maybe not if you go on the money we've spent and whatnot, but, I'm rambling here. Let's speak about some of the performances. Petrovic, I think he did very well. Gusto, really, really looking good at all times, always. Disasi didn't do any mistakes, and I came under a bit of criticism for calling him rubbish in the last video. So, yeah, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit there, but, probably still need to see someone else in there. I don't want to be hanging my hat on players that are injured. And speaking about players coming back from injury, we'll speak about an important one in a second. But don't be hanging my hat on players that are injured. But Fofana, possibly. A Fofana-Colwell partnership in centre-back for next season. That could be an interesting one. Silva did well, as always. Colwell, quite a game over in that left-back slot. Who was on the right-hand side for Fulham? William was on the left, but whoever was on the right-hand side for Fulham didn't give Colwell that many problems. Enzo Fernandez, I thought, had one of his better games. I'm not going to go and say, it was an Enzo masterclass or anything, but it wasn't. But he looked more up for it, more lively, put in a better performance. Caicedo, for me, consistently puts in good performances. Is there one or two individual errors there every now and again? Maybe. Good performance. Gallagher, quieter. Again, we've seen him quiet in a few matches. Cole Palmer, as always, he is the match winner at this moment in time for Chelsea. Sterling, decent-ish game. Could have done better sometimes. Could have done worse sometimes. Amanda Broha, quiet one. Not a great game. But we did see Ben Chilwell come off the bench. And I think that if Chilwell can keep fit, and that's a big if, because Chilwell can never really keep fit these days, but if Chile can keep fit, that might ease some of our defensive worries a lot, really. And obviously offensive as well, because Chilwell's massively creative. But yeah, it might ease a lot of those worries, because I really do think that Levi Colwell needs to be given time from the fan base. And we need to accept that he's playing out of position. He's not in his natural position. Once we get him there, then things might really start to prosper for Levi Colwell. We might see Levi Colwell almost take the reins a little bit from Thiago Silva, especially next season. But we need someone good there next to him, And at the moment, I'm looking at things. Badiashile, we don't think he'll play next to Levi Colwell, because obviously 2 left-footed players, which I don't really get why you can't have 2 left-footers, because for years we had 2 right-footers, John Terry and Carvalho. Ferdinand and Vidic, they were both right-footed, wouldn't they? Not that Chelsea had them, but they play for Man United, who are below us in the league now, actually. Yeah, so other than that, it all looked good today. It didn't look good. It wasn't convincing. I don't think we've had a performance, have we, under Todd Bowley so far, where we've just put someone to the sword and beat them like 4-0 or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's not that important, as long as we get the wins on the board. And as I say, if you look at our league form at the minute, obviously, we haven't lost now in the league since the loss to Wolves on the 24th of December. It's only 3 games or so ago. But then when you go back, a win before that, and it's starting to pick up a little bit. The main concern I would have right now, if you were to say, right, okay, don't be positive, put a more negative spin on it, we're still not really seeing a style of play from Pochettino. But what I would say is the only players that I could truly say, you could definitively say are Pochettino signings, realistically, who have we got here? I'm sure I made a note of it. Pochettino signings, you could say Caicedo, Lavia, Palmer, Ugachukwu, Sanchez, Disasi. They're the ones you could say, because obviously in the amount of time that Pochettino's been coached, the likes of Nkunku, Jackson and Gustav have all been brought in. They were all pre-agreements, if I'm right. So Caicedo, I think, has been good. I actually think he's been good, right? Palmer, signing of the season, maybe for any Premier League team at the moment. Lavia, we haven't seen him because of injury, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't be good. Ugachukwu, we haven't seen a lot because of injury, but when he's come in, he's been decent and Poch seems to like him. Sanchez, not great. Disasi, not great. So, actually, when you're going on Pochettino's signings, I've got more confidence that if it's in January, maybe we should give Pochettino a little bit more money to spend. But do you know what? I'm sort of happy with letting this squad develop together and just maybe holding off and not jumping the gun, so to speak, right now, and just seeing how we come along, where we finish up. As I say, it changes week in, week out, doesn't it? But if we could finish in Europa League spots, it would be brilliant. If we could win the League Cup, obviously, what do we get? Conference League football from that? I truly believe that we're going to turn Middlesbrough over in that second leg, but maybe that is me being guilty of the nostalgia of Chelsea, because the amount of times we've turned teams over in the second leg, I always say to this day, right, and I'll be very interested to hear your guys' best Chelsea game you've ever been to, but my best game I've ever been to was the second leg against Napoli. We won 4-1, couldn't have picked better goal scorers because you had Drogba on the score sheet, Lamps on the score sheet, Terry, and I think Ivanovic was the one that got the fourth. Second legs at Stamford Bridge, man, it bodes well for us historically. This is a new Chelsea side, I realise that, and I can't be guilty of buying into what we did in the past, because this isn't the Chelsea of the past, but I do think we're winning that second leg. So listen, overall, a good feeling today. It is a good feeling. Very, very happy with it. Guys, I will quickly tell you before the end of this video, right? 7 days, I'm going to be getting back in the ring. I'm going to be fighting on the Misfits 012 card in Leeds, of all places. They don't really like Chelsea fans, and I've got the Chelsea badge on my kit and everything, so God, we'll see how that one goes. But in Leeds, of all places, I'm fighting a guy who's really, really confident, coming to win. It's going to be good. I never thought I'd be getting back in the boxing ring, really, but the Misfits opportunities come up, obviously, massively off the back of my good friend Brian, a true Geordie. He's really helped me out with that, and with loads of things, man. If you're not subscribed already to the Kickoff, you need to be, because the man's a legend. He's helped me out with so much. I can't tell you how grateful I am. But the Misfits fight next week. There are still tickets on sale. I'm going to link the tickets, in the description for this. If you want to come and support me, I think I'm on first of the night, So I know, as sure as day, I will be out on the booze after. I'll be having a drink with all of you, catching up with all of you that come and support. So please buy tickets through the link. Come and support me. It'd be brilliant to have a drink with all of you. Yeah, be really looking forward to that. People, let me know your thoughts. If you've made it to the end of the video, please smash the like button if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed, because I'm banging out this sort of content all the time for you guys. I will see you all in the next one.